So I want to ask you guys a question today, and I would love to answer back either in the comments area or if you're watching it live right now, just responding there. When is edgy comedy too far? Now, in this title or my thumbnail, you see butt breaking, and I'll get into more details, a little bit more details about that later. But first, let's talk about Andrew Schulz. I've never been a real fan of him. I never really found him funny or entertaining. I feel like most of the time that he rides off the coattails of Charlemagne the God, and that's how he's famous and well known. If it wasn't for the podcast, the only other thing I really can recall him being on is Celebrity Junk, I want to say. I think that was a show back then that was on the Comedy Network, I want to say. With that being said, he recently made comments about Kendrick Lamar. Now, at first you would think this would just be people just being sensitive, it's comedy, and all this other kind of stuff, right? However, Andrew is not foolish, nor does he lack the capacity of empathy. And I'll give you the example as to how I know that. This right here. Give me one moment.
Let's do it. Let's have the conversation. Israel-Palestine. I think it took some time, and I just want to talk to some Jewish friends. I want to talk to some Palestinian friends. I just want to understand what both groups were feeling, and understand how unbelievably isolating it is to be both of them in this scenario. So let's just take, for example, the Jews, right? You're a Western Jew. You're raised your entire life with your history, with the stories of your victimization and your oppression, right? Jews have been kicked out of every single country they've ever been in. Like, literally, you go to a country, even on this tour, I'd be doing some research of the city we're in, and then I just come across the date that the Jews were kicked out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, King George did it to the Jews in the year 1000 or whatever in England. I didn't even know that happened. Like, every single country. So you're listening to this information as a Western Jew. You're hearing about it.
You probably have grandparents survived the Holocaust.
100%.
He tells you about it.
100%.
People are going to try to exterminate us.
100%. They're telling you this constantly. They're saying, hey, you're different. And just to let you know, it could happen again. We got to be very careful. You got to be on your P's and Q's. And you're a Western Jew that grows up in New York. You grew up in LA or something. You're like, I'm just American. Yeah. I'm like a white kid from America. What are they talking about? Like, you hear about the anti-Semitism that will pop up sometimes, but you're like, I'm American. This is my parents. That was like my parents' time. And then October 7th happens, disgusting act of terror from Hamas, terrorist organization in Gaza, and kills over 1,000 Jews. And you think the reaction is going to be empathy and sympathy and concern for you and what your people just went through, this disgusting act. But all of a sudden, you see the next day, they're like people in the streets seemingly excited about it. Mm-hmm. This is not everybody, but there are people that are chanting horribly anti-Semitic things.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that voice that you quieted your whole life because you're like, that's just my grandparents being crazy. You're like, holy shit, is it true? This is the worst case scenario. We are different. They are out for us. They do hate us. And they hate us because we're Jewish. That's the conclusion that you would logically come to. They want to exterminate us. They want us gone, right? You hear these chants.
And not only are they not giving you sympathy, some people are celebrating.
Oh, exactly.
And that's when
And I'm going to pause that for a second. Now, I learned this a very long time ago at a very young age, and that is people empathize to what they can relate to, right? Whether it's relate to somebody that acts like a family member or skin color, they have a better chance of empathizing with that. So Andrew, being an American Jew, can empathize with people that's over there in Israel and the attack that happened back then. Now, I'm not going to get into who was right or wrong in that whole entire attack or whatever. He just can empathize being a Jewish man because he can see himself in those people because they look a lot like him. So he has sensitivity and understanding and try very hard not to cross the line when it comes to making jokes, things of that nature, right? But he doesn't have that same understanding, empathy when he made those comments about Kendrick Lamar. Now think about that for a second and what he said about Kendrick Lamar. I'm going to play that too. Give me one more moment.
Let's do it. Let's have the conversation. Israel-Palestine. I think it took... I mean, it's crazy. But I need Kendrick. I need you to do it, Kendrick.
You want to squabble up with Kenny?
No. I mean, here's the thing. This is the thing that is kind of funny about it. Is like, first of all, Kendrick's people and the gang affiliate, everybody, his security, they will kill me. They will destroy me. They'll find me in the street. They'll fucking cut me up. They'll shoot me. They'll do whatever. I'm not a tough guy. Y'all will do. But just Kendrick, I would make love to him. There's nothing he could do about it. Just Kendrick Lamar, I would make love to him, and the only thing that he could do is decide if it's consensual or not. That's the only thing he could do. If it's me and Kendrick.
Now, how in the world is something like that funny? It's beyond me. It's not that funny, but let's keep watching.
If it's me and Kendrick, no, this is about physics. It's about physics. I don't even know if I'll get hard. But if we're in a cell, there's a chance that if we're in a cell and we're bored and we done tattooing each other, whatever you do in the cell, and we ran out of board games and we did all the other things, we cleaned everything, and I'm like, man, I might as well fuck you. There's nothing he could physically do to
Jesus, that laugh is freaking annoying.
stop that. Besides, put his legs in the air and choose a position. Maybe I'll let him choose a
Why are you
position.
pulling this picture up, Mark? Why are you doing this?
Look, put up that picture of him and Travis Kelce's girl. Look at that shit.
Oh my God, dude, that's unbelievable.
Yo, I'll be honest. I would go so far as to say, I don't think he could stop most people on the planet from having sex with him. Like, the only reason he got security is to stop people from having sex with him whenever he wants. Now, don't get me wrong, there's people who could fuck me against my will. I was in an elevator once with this drag queen, and this motherfucker was like 6'5".
Oh, yeah.
And we're in the elevator, and we're going down. I'm like, yo, if he wanted to take it, I gotta cause a ruckus or something like that. Like, I gotta have my pants. I gotta do something. I gotta do something to stop. He might enjoy it. I have no clue what they're into, but I know with Kendrick that he's talking a lot of shit. But if it came down to it, I could put him on my lap. I could feed him a bottle. Or I could put him on my lap. I could feed him a bottle.
Now, on my thumbnail, you see there, buck breaking, right? Now, it's very well known. I won't say it's very well known, because if it was very well known, I don't think the other black guy on the couch there would be just laughing like that. What Andrew just described is a perfect example of buck breaking. Essentially taking a strong black male and humiliating him in the public by forcibly having relations with him, by R-ing him, right? It was very well known in Jamaica, and of course it happened in the States too. So whenever I hear Andrew Schulz, who has a large black audience, talk about Kendrick Lamar, the man who has not disrespected a black woman in any of his songs, as far as I know, a man who has tried to uplift black people, the man who went to war against somebody who is accused as a pedophile and won, a man who is showing a positive example, not just by his music, but also by his actions and his deeds. And you say something like that, that is humiliating. That is embarrassing for himself. And the fact that people are not calling this man out more for discussing things that he just said is beyond me. Because again, he can empathize and relate to the whole entire Jewish community, right? The Israelis that's quote unquote being unalived, right? He can do that. But when it comes to black people, the people that he makes his money with, he makes a joke about essentially Kendrick Lamar is single-handedly trying to save the black youth. When I grew up, you know, we had artists like Lil Wayne, the Hot Boys, things of that nature, right? None of them were really positive and promoted the most despicable and disgusting stuff. And you look at Wayne now, you see the consequences of what he promoted. It was pretty much karma, if you feel me, to be really honest with you. Kendrick is giving young black minds another way to think, another thing to listen to, and holding them accountable, and also white people accountable by sticking up for our black women. But yet, not enough people are sticking up and are coming to arms for Kendrick. I'm not saying this should be an all-out war, but I do think there should be some type of apology that comes from Andrew. But that doesn't happen. There's no accountability for him.
I mean, it is crazy.
He did.
But I need Kendrick. I need
Many
you to do
times in my life where I've been
Now, here's another
propositioned
video.
to get
Thank
a
you,
huge role.
Now that was here's another video. It's just not a whole entire Kendrick thing. I just want to show that it happens across the board to everybody. We're in this industry.
I've lost my agency because I went to the hotel room, which I can't believe they would send me to, of a very prominent Oscar award-winning director who showed up in his robe, asked me to take my clothes off and said he needed to take Polaroids of me, and that if I did X, Y, and Z, I would be the next Marvel character. I didn't do that, and my agency fired me because I left this director's room. A lot of my other male friends have gone through with both men and women in this industry, but there's a double standard, and this is where I bring Terry Crews. Terry Crews comes out and says it, people are laughing at him. They kick him out. Why? Because he's a man that represents masculinity, and I think our society is less ready to hear that situation going on with men.
I always found that kind of interesting what he just said there. You know, he brings up Terry Crews, a very strong masculine black male, and how he pretty much got made fun of, which he did. People always said that he should, you know, slap the person who tried to grab him, et cetera, right? But my thing is, again, how come you're not staying out in front to support Terry when that happened? Because obviously it happened to you. And you see, here's the thing. I'm not saying, I forget your Lawrence brothers, it's one of them. But here's the thing, though. They use black people as a test subject. Like he just said, it came to Terry Crews and they were laughing at him. Now, I guarantee you, if Terry Crews would have had a different response, or people reaction to Terry Crews' situation was a lot different, he probably would have came up and said something too. But because of the backlash that Terry Crews has had, he wanted to stay silent. Now, again, why is he sitting here staying silent on the name? He's not acting anymore. I haven't seen him in anything. He's doing a podcast with people who don't even act anymore. So at this point, I think it'll be okay to say any name he wanted to. It's not going to impact his career any. But that's just the thing. Black people are always in the front lines of every single activism out there first. If it wasn't for civil rights, women's rights wouldn't have happened. If it wasn't for civil rights, LGBTQ gay rights wouldn't have happened. It goes on and on. Black people fight for it first, and then everybody else come in after to benefit from it. But they never really stand with us while the issue is going on at that particular time. Now back to the whole entire Andrew Schulz thing.
Don't be surprised if he goes crazy. Listen, some of the Kendrick stans have been posting shit like telling me they're gonna take out my family on like pictures of my child, my daughter. God. You surprised by this? This is the nature of the game.
Yeah, social media.
Yeah, social media. It's like, but he says that line. He says that line. His parent, his friend, some of his fans. The majority of his fans don't do anything. The majority of his fans are just like they like hip hop. They think he's a great musician. But the most extreme ones, on a picture of my 8-month baby, are going, "You better take security everywhere because I'm coming for your whole family." And this is like multiple. Crazy. So to me, that person, I don't blame Kendrick. We can't control what our fans do. But that person, I go, you're talking about my kid, man. Like, I have to screenshot you, know who you are, and if I ever see you,
you can't play with it. Yeah, you can't play with it. No, I'm with you. 100%. That's why I don't feel no remorse.
I feel no remorse. Like, yo, you talked about someone's child,
you should have learned from Pusha T.
Right.
He did the same thing to Pusha T. You want to mention people's fiance, and Kendrick took his belt off and whipped your ass the way he gonna whip Schultz's ass. If he did that to a half a white man, imagine what he's gonna do to a full one. You know what I'm saying?
You know, on one hand, I kind of miss the old Charlemagne. The old Charlemagne actually stood for something, but now he always stays in the middle of the road. And a lot of people was waiting to comment on the whole entire Andrew Schulz thing to see what Charlemagne was going to say or do in this particular situation, which, again, is a lot of nothing in the middle ground like always. This is an embarrassment, and it's not an embarrassment for black people. It's an embarrassment for Andrew. It's an embarrassment for his supporters, those two people sitting right next to him. It's an embarrassment for all of them. And honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, I don't think Andrew is telling the truth about this guy, random Kendrick fan, making a tweet talking about, or whatever response ever responded back to him about the situation and, you know, threatening his daughter. Again, Kendrick music, people who listen to Kendrick's music, I just don't see them going around threatening kids. You see what I mean? Now, if it was a Eminem fan, I can understand that. And the reason I say that, Eminem, when he first came out, he was talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. I can't even say it without getting my video or my live demonetized or get a strike. But go listen to old school Eminem when he first came out. So I could definitely understand if it was like an Eminem fan or an Insane Clown Posse fan or, you know, something like that that made that kind of threat towards the kid. But Kendrick fans are normally different from the regular ones. Now, if I was a man and somebody made a threat towards one of my family members, especially my daughter, who I think he said 8 months old or what have you, I would sit there and post that tweet or DM and whatever it is and expose it to everybody so they can see it. I feel like what this is he's trying to deflect the attention from him and, again, still not have any accountability and turn himself into the victim in this situation. He messed up. And instead of stepping up and apologizing and say, I went overboard, I didn't understand the history of this, because I'll give him a pass in that sense, saying he may not understand the history, mainly because he's a white man. But yeah, he doesn't lack empathy, because I showed a clip earlier where he does understand empathy. He just don't understand black empathy. So let's say he still should have apologized and then brought up the whole entire thing that happened to his daughter and then show whatever tweet, DM, or whatever it was about his daughter. You guys tell me what you think. I got a few people watching right now. You guys tell me what you think if you're still watching this. I really want to know, when is comedy too far? And, you know, the person who did this, they could say, hey, this is edgy comedy. That's what Andrew's known for, right? There's no limits when it comes to comedy. You just don't like the comedian that said it to you. That's just my opinion on that. But that's the route that person can go when they are responding to Andrew and said that. And again, I didn't see it improve. I checked his Instagram. I checked his Twitter before I got on here. I didn't see anything about somebody threatening his daughter. But yet, he wants to come online next to two black people, say this so he could deflect the attention from his own wrongdoing and get some sympathy on his own. And it's pretty disgusting. I don't like us black people being used as shields to face the agenda and not hold people accountable. We need to start holding more of these people accountable. Because if we don't hold them accountable, they will keep disrespecting us in our faces nonstop. And I'm sick and tired of being disrespected. Our history is everywhere. No matter how many books that you try to ban, no matter what movies you try to edit things to make it seem a different type of way, our history is everywhere. Our elders are our history. If you have black friends, and supposedly Charlamagne is a friend of his, he should know that history or know about butt breaking. Hey, what was his name? Not Dr. Umar Johnson. I can't think of his name right now. The other guy who put Fresh and Fit in their place, I cannot think of his name right now. Tariq Nasheed did a whole movie about butt breaking. There's no excuses here. American history, what was done to us, is very rich and all across the land. You can't escape it. But again, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. I just want to go ahead and touch on this subject since, you know, I'm not getting no responses right now anyway. So you guys tell me what you think. Leave a comment after the fact. Is there a limit to comedy? And when do we start holding these comedians accountable? You guys subscribe. Thank you very much. Hope you have a